March, specifically March, as well, of course, new results from a new month as we go into the second quarter of 2021. So thank you for joining. As always, feel free to use the chat box if you're looking live to ask any questions, or of course, feel free to leave a comment in the YouTube video that we're going to upload this later on, or use our Google form to ask questions during the week, which we'll answer in these live webinars, because we have these webinars every week, weekly. Usually on Tuesday, we move this one to Thursday so that we can take into account the full and final results of March. All right, let's start. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. All right, where do we start? Let's take a look at the portfolio. I have to sign in first. So let me take a look at my own SWAT EA first of all then. It's been trading under your dollar for the second month, I believe. So let's take a look at how the second month has performed. So total is plus 16.75, and drawdown is 10%. And March ended up with a slight down, minus 4.8. February was fantastic, plus 22.67, but March was a little bit lower. This also is indicating that the first quarter result, plus 16.75. We had a continuation in March of the uptrend, as you can see, peaked at 26.64, but then saw a little bit of drawdown happen before it bounced up on the 26th here. So that's it. Nothing really to discuss much. This can happen. And, a small negative month is certainly something that can happen. Profit factor, I really like a lot, 1.94, almost 2. And that's it. Otherwise, not much to discuss. We need more data. But so far, it's a good result, in my view, for the CA. Let's take a look at the DAX 50-minute chart with the same EA. Going sideways, up 4% in total, and slightly around that -5 mark as well. So nothing spectacular, more data needed. And then we have, last but not least, the Dax Hourly Chart, up 5.3%. It was going sideways, slightly down actually, but had some very good results yesterday and the 26th. And it ended up plus 8.7, whereas February was minus. The 1 hour chart ended up actually in plus. So it's flipped actually compared to the DAX 15 and Eurodollar 1 hour. So that's funny. This actually having a pretty good month. Profit factor 1.57 and up 5%. So DAX 1 hour chart showing some good finishing, last push here in the first quarter. So anyway, in any case, all three accounts are up with the SWAT EA. That's good, +5, +4, and +16.5, I think. So altogether about 25%. I'm happy with that result at the start for the first quarter of 2021. I am definitely pleased with that. So that's good. Let's take a look at Mislav Nikolish's EAs from Bull Capital. So let's take a look at Ultima EA and Rush EA. First of all, we'll take a look at Ultima EA. Here we go. All right, so we're seeing some recovery. We had a very strong second part of February, but also March has been decent, as you can see, more than decent probably. Actually, it's even better in February. Apologies for that. Didn't even realize that. Plus 29%. And this is with 3% risk per setup. So, and not the usual 5% that we did before. So that just shows that with 5%, of course, risk per setup, the rewards would have been greater as well, obviously. So I don't know exactly how much more. It's difficult to say. But of course, 5% is 2/3 more than 3%. So there is quite a substantial difference there potentially. Anyhow, we can take a look at maybe Mislav's account. I think he's still trading 5%, but let me do that. but still 29%, even with 3% risk. Very good result, and very good first quarter. January had actually some floating profit, but lost it at the end of January. Ended up with +1, so plus 24, 25, about 54% in the first quarter. Very decent, nice comeback. Of course, the fourth quarter in 2020 was negative, obviously. Not only that, but was substantially negative, and this is substantial profit. So we're back to a gain overall. Now, for some traders, they might still not be up, because if you joined here at the peak, beginning of June, you're still waiting actually. But for more and more traders, as this account goes up, they are getting into either break even or slightly positive territory, depending where in this curve you started. Obviously, that's logical. But if you started here in November, you're up. You're actually in positive territory. If you started anywhere here like mid-August, then you're still slightly down. If you started end October, you're break even, right? So that really depends. Of course, if this curve were to break above these highs, then by then, hopefully everyone is in green territory. Okay? So let's take a look what 5%, you see 5% was able to reach 40 and plus 51. 40 and plus 51, so it's a substantial difference, about 40% more. But the problem was that the drawdown had breached what we saw in the historical terms. So that was the plan, to, if it does that, to reduce the risk. And it was just very unlucky that it just breached it and then started to show a winning streak. So that's quite an unfortunate kind of combination of factors. In any case, the drawdown is tempered, as you can see, and is now below 40%. So good news for Ultima EA at this moment, I think. Very happy with that. Let's take a look at SWAT EA. Oh yeah, one more thing with the Ultima EA, there were, despite the 29%, which is pretty good result in itself, it could have actually, there was a potential for more, because a couple of times the target just got missed by literally a few pips, and then ended up for break even. And that's something that happens quite rare. Usually, if price gets within a few pips, the target gets hit. I would say 99% of the times, or even, I don't know if I ever, maybe once I saw it before, and now it happened a couple of times, I think twice, back to back. So that was really unlucky. Otherwise, the profit could have been even more. So that was, in a certain way, I wouldn't have been surprised at one point if this number could have been double, even with 3% risk. So a little bit unlucky, but still, all in all, 29, great result. SWAT EA had a fantastic February. March just ended up for break even, more or less, minus 1.44 to be precise. And slightly down overall still. But I think that we had a nice bounce up here. Let's see if we get a leg up. This was a leg up. This is a correction. So I'm, from a technical point of view, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a leg up again. But yeah, this EA about break even. Zeus EA. Steady as it goes. Yet again, every month, same thing. Plus 34.38 at this moment. And there is some floating loss at this moment ongoing. Some accounts have a bigger floating loss than others. As you can see, we had that once before here, end of October. We had that end of December a little bit. Now again, it doesn't happen too often. As you can see, the red and orange lines are usually quite close to each other, with a few exceptions. Now is a small one as well. Well, it depends. Some have it a little bit bigger than others. In any case, the closed profit for March, again, steady, plus 4%, 3.96 to be very precise. Very steady every month, positive, but no massive profits, right? But still very good for 2.64%. So yeah, very consistent. Happy to see that. And profit factor of 1.57. So great results. We also have our own, this is the profit share account. We also have our own Zeus EA that we're trading ourselves. And that's up almost 67%. And last month had 3.74, pretty similar, a little bit less than the profit share account, but quite close to that 4% mark. So Zeus EA, steady as it goes. For our accounts here, as you can see, there is slight floating loss at this moment ongoing, but yeah, hopefully that will be closed. Usually that is closed within a couple of days. All right, then let's take a look at Nenet's ecsLIVE trading ideas, plus 35% at this moment. Had a drawdown, quick recovery, peaked at 41, now about 35. The March result was slightly down though at minus 4.85. And what else? We have London Open, of course. Let's take a look at that. That was not doing too well. It had a slight recovery in February, but that recovery wasn't enough for reversal as we got a new low again, minus 11. So this EA is struggling, minus 42, 41% drawdown here. And yeah, this is close to, I would say if it, if it breaches 50%, I don't know what I said in the past. My memory is failing me here, but I think if I said 50, but it could have been even 40. I would have to double check. But anywhere to 40-50 zone, let's say, if it pushes through that, then we're going to stop with the CA. Very honest, very open about that. Maybe we'll continue with the EA, but it certainly breaches what we expected. Let me say it this way. Now, that can happen. We saw with Ultima EA the same, that it pushed through the max historical drawdown, which can happen, and still made a recovery. So, it's, kind of decisions you need to weigh well. But certainly the EA has had a struggle since November, and it's not been recovering, as you can see. This could still be a drawdown, a very big drawdown, but it's possible. But yeah, definitely not going to add capital to this, of course, and waiting, if anything, for push higher, a higher low, and continuation before even considering trading more capital with this EA, obviously. Let's see, what else? We have Let's Dance. We started trading ourselves as well. And slightly down, -4 in March. So certainly March was not as great as February. February more or less had positive results across the board, I think, except a small loss on LOA. March has not been as favorable, as you can see, as February, but we certainly had still some positive results overall. SWAT was about break even when you count, all the three versions together. Rush EA was about break even. Ultima EA was clearly positive with almost 30%. LOA was -11, and Zeus EA was +4. So overall positive, but not as positive as February, as you can see. If we look at the total Q1 results, then I would say very positive, I guess, because February was good. January was about break even. February was clearly positive. March is slightly positive. So Q1 has been quite good, I think, in my humble opinion. So that's great. What else? Did I miss anything? Yeah, my scalping version is struggling. So I'm still waiting for more data about that. This is still testing phase. Those scalp systems are not public either because it's still testing. So we're still waiting for more information. But I think it has a lot of potential, but it's not. It's quite a steep drawdown, 20% as you can see. So yeah, I'm waiting for some kind of. This is only down at the moment, so definitely doesn't show me anything as yet why I would invest in this, except maybe something very small. The win rate is historically low, but this is lower than what we expected. So March, quite one of the worst months in all those 10 years of testing. So yeah, we need more data before making a judgment on this. Didn't start well, let me say it this way, but it doesn't mean that 1 month is a decisive factor. We need more months, more data. Okay. All right. I guess that summarizes the March month. Slightly positive overall, at least. Q1, quite positive. Yeah, pretty good month. Pretty good quarter, I would say. Now, of course, that could vary from trader to trader, which EAs you're trading or not. That's why we're also working on a portfolio approach, by the way, which we hope to launch soon. And that would combine multiple EAs together, so it's easier to trade a basket of EAs, similar to a basket of stocks. If you have everything on one stock, of course, it's more volatile. But if you spread your capital, your investment on multiple stocks, then typically the volatility should usually be a little bit lower, should be better, right? Specifically, if you start to spread it in ways like industries and different types of stocks. And so, yeah, if you have that diversification, that's what we want to create with a portfolio of EAs as well. And that will give a little, we've seen in simulations that gives more robust kind of approach with less drawdowns, less negative months, less negative quarters, and still plenty of upside and plenty of profit potential. So that's what we're working on right now. Any questions at the moment? Anything you want to ask? Your dollar bouncing at the 78. As I said in my video yesterday, the previous bottom at 117.04 is key. If it breaks that, my bullish reversal is invalidated. So far, price making quite a nice bounce at the 78. Let's see if that's enough. I'm not sure, but it's not a bad reaction so far. Pound USD the same, making a bounce at the 50 fib. I said if it doesn't close above 138.05, we should see a retracement to the 21 EMA. That's what it did. Bounced at the 50 fib. Made it to the minus 272 target, then made a retracement, ABC retracement to the 61, fib at 137.50, made a bounce there, showing some strength. But let's see if it has the muscle and power to continue above the trend line and to make an actual breakout. It did make a couple of good bounces at the 50, 61.8 fib, so that's at least something. And I think kind of at least semi-confirms the support I saw. But to be more accurate, I would need to see a breakout and a follow through if indeed that bullish reversal, as I suspect, is going to take place. Bitcoin had in March, of course, we have monthly candles really to look at. Now, nothing to complain about this monthly candle on the BTC. If you're holding Bitcoin, I think that this is a strong candle, bullish close near the high. I think bulls are in control for 6 months already with higher highs, higher lows. Not a single month didn't close for a higher high, including March, since this bull run here actually here in October. Even if you look back as far as April, we had higher highs except September. And the same thing is valid for Ethereum. No, Ethereum actually didn't have a higher high in March, but it did close right near the high. That to me indicates that the bulls are in control. You see? So 1 month without a higher high really doesn't mean anything. So crypto's looking bullish still in March, despite some volatility on within the month. When you look at the daily chart, certainly there was some ups and downs after a strong push through the 20K top, right? We had a strong surge up to above 40, ABC pullback to the 21 bounce, another surge up to the 57K, sorry, another test of the 21 bounce, 60K, another bounce to the 21. So it slowed down a little bit because the 21 EMA got retested twice in March, but ultimately still got bounces. Whereas before we had pretty much a run up here and a run up here and only one bounce here. One bounce here and one bounce here at the 21 EMA. So the angle maybe slowed down slightly in March compared to, because the angle before that was really very high paced and very impulsive. But yeah, ultimately slowing maybe slightly. But if I look at the monthly chart, I think that the monthly candle is showing quite substantial bullish control, in my view at least, if I look at the monthly candle. So yes, intra-month showed some slowdown perhaps, with some correction. But I think that's normal if you look at this type of impulse. It can't last forever. Some kind of correction is bound to happen. That's what I think would happen in March. It's probably some type of wave 4, and it is still looking bullish in my view. Just looking at this chart, even if we get a correction in April, I don't see this correcting much lower than, let's take a look, 50,000 or maybe 44 at max. Probably 50, to be honest, for instance, and then making a new swing up. That's my view at this moment. We can take a look at the dollar too. Dollar did have a strong month against the euro, very bearish candle, and that candle closed near the low. So the upside that I see maybe an ABC pattern here might be limited. I don't know. It's quite a bearish month, but I think that there should be some upside and then a downside. So we have to see what type of pattern, because I think that there's a 38.2 fib here. So really it depends. If we get a strong upside, it could be a part of a triangle pattern like this, A, B, C, D, E. Of course, if we get a weak upside, then and a break, then there could just be something else going on. It could be maybe a downtrend on the euro dollar and an uptrend on the dollar. I think statistically that some type of reaction is likely at this 38.2 fib. Price respected the 23.6 fib. We have a previous bottom close by. So I don't think that's a strange thing to expect. But let's see if that happens or not. We'll find out. Reversals are always tricky. And of course, if price breaks through this bottom, we'll have to see how it breaks. If a larger downtrend will indeed take place or not. All right, that's the dollar against the euro, pound. Bearish, but not as bearish as with the euro dollar. As you can see, more of it's an inside candle, in fact, with some wick at the bottom, small wick at the top as well. Gold back into 21 EMA. After the higher high, we're seeing some kind of drop actually back to the 20 EMA. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a wave 4, hit the 50 fib and bounced. So let's see if this is a wave 4 or not. But if it respects the 50 fib, it could be. Stock indices, record highs here on the Dax, breaking above even the 15,000 level. I set analysis on this when it was about 13,700, if I remember correctly. Sorry if I'm wrong for that. And indeed making it up to 15,000. Yeah, very strong rally. And a very bullish monthly candle as well, as you can see, breaking through those two smaller candles before that. very bullish, moving away from the 20 EMA. Indices on fire, and especially here the DAX. Let's take a look at Dow Jones, also bullish, breaking higher high, closing at a high. This remains bullish, so I think that we might see some retracement of last month's monthly candle, but otherwise expecting that uptrend to continue, to be honest. And dollar yen, also when the dollar was strengthening against the euro, for instance, we saw the dollar yen. I made an analysis somewhere around here, I believe, that the dollar yen was about to go up because it completed an A, B, C pattern and was looking for this break, and indeed break, pullback, and beautiful continuation straight to the next target. Look at that, 110.90 minus 161.8 target. Look, one straight arrow almost, or beautiful channel here, taking it all the way after that breakout to the target. Beautiful push above the 20 EMA with 1-2 bounces at the 20 EMA. And this was also something I sent in my analysis, this upside. Very nice upside here. Very strong monthly candle, so yen looks weak at the moment. But here too, some retracement could take place. Push up to 112 and later to 115 seems likely. This could be a triangle, A, B, C, A, B, C within D, then down for E, and an up break. Or this is an A, B, C, D, E triangle, and then a down break. Both are possible. Depends on the break. But for the moment, there's space at the 61 and 78.6 pips. So looking at the strength of the monthly candle, though, I suspect only a shallow pullback. Back maybe to 110. Back to the 21 EMA on the 4-hour chart, for instance, here. Could make sense. 110, 110.25, and then up. So this triangle could break to the downside. Like that. Let's see if that happens. Back to the 144 EMA. Maybe I'm too bearish, but let's see. It depends on the euro dollar too. If it does break to the upside, of course, then the euro dollar will probably break to the downside too. If this breaks to the upside, and then it could maybe make an immediate upside to 112. All right, folks, that's a quick look at all of the markets in March. Thank you for joining. And well, we'll be back next week, of course, with our usual webinars and videos and updates. Specifically on Monday, we got another wave webinar coming up as well. Hope to see you then and there, and good trading. Cheers.